If I had to pick an accumulator for this weekend's Premier League games using nothing but data, here's what I would do. And of course, in this video, we are going to be using professional tools to find sensible selections on this weekend's Premier League games. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to jump right in with Arsenal, and I've got a question for you straight away as we look at their record across all competitions. They have not conceded a goal in 6 games. They are chasing a 7th clean sheet in a row. The question for you in the comments, every comment automatically entered into a draw to win OddAlerts Pro, of course. Is this defence better than the Chelsea defence that conceded 15 goals, I think it was, with Petr Cech in net, John Terry, Carvalho? Is this side better than that one? I guess we'll have to wait and see, won't we? But defensively, they really do not give you much, do they? They've conceded 3 goals all season. One of those, of course, was the Szoboszlai wonder strike. That is the only game that they have lost this season. They are hot favourites for the title, and they are away at Burnley this weekend. If we toggle to look at goals scored, they have scored, of course, in every game apart from that Liverpool game. Just touching on the comparisons between the Jose Mourinho Chelsea team, I don't think they have as much of the fear factor yet than that Chelsea team did. I mean, Drogba up top, absolute monster. What a player, what a centre forward he was. Ian Robben on the wings as well. You know, these were scary, scary players. If Saka can get back into his groove, if Eze can put in the sort of performances that he used to for Palace on a consistent basis, if they can find somebody to lock down that left wing role, if Gyökeres gets firing, then maybe they will flick a switch and be unstoppable, because clearly at one end of the pitch they've got it sorted. Now we're going to stick with the goals scored tab here, because Burnley are doing pretty well. They scored 3 against Wolves, 2 against Leeds, Aston Villa, a couple of wins as well. If we just go back to the results here, they've won the last couple of games, and how vital might those points be come May, come the end of the season, beating Wolves and beating Leeds back to back. Before that, they have conceded and not won many games, but they've played United, Liverpool, Forest, Cardiff, who are doing well, but you should be winning those games, Man City, Aston Villa. We'll get on to Aston Villa in this video. They are in some form now after a dodgy start to the season. So can Burnley score at Turf Moor? Can they continue this impressive run of scoring in games even when they lose, and even when, in the case of the Man City game, they get battered? And we can take a look on our new AI football predictions page, link in the description. For this game, we are getting an insight here. Under 2.5 goals is value with a 19% edge over evens for under 2.5 goals. I'm going to go with something that carries a little bit less risk, as you'll see when we put together our selections at the end of this video. If you are new here, hit like, hit subscribe, but also just to tell you what we do, we go through the games, we find some sensible plays, we look at the data, we are guided by the data, and then at the end of the video, we will put together a selection for the Premier League this weekend. So that was Burnley against Arsenal. As always, get your predictions in the comments. I love reading them. Now let's move on to the next game, which is Sean Dyche's second home game in charge of Nottingham Forest. So as things stand, this is 18th against 6. Manchester United putting together a pretty decent run. But I've got to start with Forest, because their last home game, the first home game under Sean Dyche, was a win against Porto. Now, if you follow European football, you'll know that Porto are one of the in-form teams in Europe. Many expected them to lose that game, certainly to concede. So a clean sheet in his first home game. The crowd will play a massive part in every home game for the rest of this season, you would feel, at the City Ground, but especially in these early games under Sean Dyche. And we can see that they scored a goal in both halves as well against Porto. Now, speaking of goals in both halves, we move to Manchester United. They come into this having scored a first half goal in each of their last 5 fixtures. They're on a run of 5 wins in the last 7 games. Will they win 5 games in a row? Will this guy finally get a haircut? Who knows? And if we just toggle all competitions and look at their away form, that away win at Liverpool was their first since May, and they're first in the Premier League since March, and even that came against to be relegated Leicester City. If we go back before that, it was January, so just 2 away wins before that Liverpool victory in 2025 for Manchester United. That could be a real stepping stone, a real springboard for Amorim and his team. And if you just look at the overall form, certainly the way they're starting games, they do look to have turned a corner. Now we can jump to the football form guide and look at goals for in the first half. If you want to check out this page, you can in the description. There's a link there. It's free to check out. Goals scored in the first half across the last 10 games, all competitions. Chelsea with 12, Brentford with 11. There is some very interesting data around Brentford, which we will get to. Liverpool 9, City 9, and Manchester United 9 as well. So plenty of teams starting games well in the Premier League this season. So Manchester United with a first half goal, and I just want to give you a heads up to a couple of new features based around first half goals on OddAlerts. These have launched in the last week. First, we have a brand new probability model which aims to predict the likelihood of a first half goal being scored, and you can see the output of this model on our Bet of the Day page, which ranks all of the markets under the model, and you can see them accessible here. We're going to look at first half goals. Top of the pile, 89% comes from the Saudi Pro League. Then we've got another game there, 88%, and these are fantastic for setting alerts. But let me show you another new feature. This is the in-play funnel, and now, as of Friday, if you're watching this on Friday, it is now available for all pro users, the first half goals market. So if we scroll down here, we can see that there is a new market, first half goals. Yes, you can edit this. And then we can see that 3,428 games across the next 5 days, they're going to enter my funnel. If the odds have increased by 25%, I'm going to get an alert on those games, and you can go in and check the data. And if you wanted to, you could say, only tell me when the odds are 1.8 or higher. And that's it, that's saved. And you will get alerts that look like this. And they are always on, automated, and this is now available as of Friday, Halloween, for all pro users. And if you want to check this out, you can use the code SPOOKY at checkout to get 15% discount on your first month of OddAlerts. Now, back to the Premier League. The late game, or the late game, I should say, comes from Anfield, where Liverpool host Aston Villa, 8 p.m. kickoff, and my word, it's not going well for Arne Slot. Liverpool are down to 7th and chasing their first Premier League win in 5 games. You can just see though, BTTS 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the last 5 games, and that is their problem. They are conceding so much space in behind, especially the fullbacks. I'm not sure what they're going to do. They played in the week, they lost 3-0 at home to Crystal Palace. It was a heavily rotated team, but interestingly, Kirkes and Robertson played in that game. They are really struggling for centre-backs at the moment, and ironically, they really were trying to sign Mark Gahey, weren't they? Maybe they'll go back in for him in January. And we can see that they've lost 6 of the last 7 games. This is very similar, isn't it, to Manchester City last season, but they were without Rodri. They had to find a way without Rodri. Ballon d'Or winning Rodri as well. Liverpool, it's not really the case. They've spent a lot of money. They've refreshed the squad. Yes, they've lost Trent Alexander-Arnold, but they've added Isak, they've added Wirtz, they've added Frimpong, who can't get a game at the minute. It's a strange old situation. Can they improve to be an Aston Villa side who themselves have improved massively? We can toggle the goals scored results tab, and we can see that after failing to score in the first 4 games, they have now scored in the last 9 fixtures. And they've only lost one of those fixtures as well, which was away from home in the Europa League. And given the way the Europa League works with the large table format, that's fine. Unai Emery will take that defeat and they'll probably still qualify. Maybe they rotated, I've not checked the squad for that, but away from home, go ahead Eagles, was a defeat. They backed it up with a victory against Manchester City, so they are in fine form finally for those Aston Villa fans. Now just jumping and checking out the OddAlerts AI football predictions, I will be sharing an exclusive bet builder for this one because it's a late game. An exclusive bet builder will be put in Discord, and I'll also be getting the predictions of all the community inside the Discord. Liverpool's near perfect scoring run, they've found the net in 9 of their last 10 games and scored in all of their 6 recent home games. Aston Villa scored in 9 of their last 10 fixtures as well. Will this one go for BTTS over 2.5 goals? Let us all know in the comments. Now, Crystal Palace against Brentford. I've said many times on the channel, do not doubt Brentford, and we can see they've actually won a higher percentage of games than Crystal Palace. Of course, they've lost more games in terms of percentage. Now, I've said many times on the channel, do not doubt Brentford. Even at the start of the season when results weren't quite there, I was telling you that, you can see what they're trying to do and it will click. And it has clicked in certain games. They are playing well. They have a style of play. Keith Andrews is turning them into a team that I don't think many teams will want to play against this season. Now, it's just one home defeat all season for Brentford. That's where they're picking up most of their points. But away from home, 3 defeats out of 4, but to me, I see that they've scored in every game. That stands out to me more than the record itself. The fact that they're still capable of scoring. Can they go to Palace and get a goal this weekend? Well, the bookmakers certainly think so. 1.36 is the current price. 1.41 with Canby, William Hill, 1xBet, 1.41 Pinnacle, 1.41. So yes, all bookmakers really quite unified in their confidence for Brentford to go and score away at Palace, who we can see from their recent games, if we look at their home games, they've only won once this season at home, but they are of course unbeaten. If we look across their recent home games, they have conceded in the majority. Now we jump back to the football form guide to show you a very interesting stat here. Across the last 10 games, no team has scored first more than Brentford. 8 of their last 10 games. Now let's look at a stat where Crystal Palace are near the top, and it's a good one to be near the top for. XG4 per game, they are second, only behind Manchester United, who have got penalties in there as well. I'm sure Crystal Palace have had a penalty or 2 with Mateta, but Manchester United have had 3 penalties. Crystal Palace, 2.09 XG per game. They're doing pretty well. They're creating chances for their forward despite losing Eze. I think they deserve massive, massive credit. If they could turn some of those draws, which we just saw, into 3 points, they are surely going to be chasing European finishes this season. And again, I'll just jump to the AI football predictions page. You can find the link to this in the description just to show you where I was shown some of this data initially. It just creates nice insights, digestible. Brentford have opened the scoring in 80% of their last 10 games, an average 1.5 first half goals as well, so that could be something to look out for. Under 2.5 goals is a value bet, and of course it mentions Brentford's near perfect scoring run. They've scored in 9 of their last 10 fixtures. This page is completely free to check out and it is in the description. Brighton hosting Leeds, and for this one we look at the football form guide. Across the last 10 games, no team has scored more second half goals than Brighton. 17 goals, and that is a large chunk of their total second half goals, which is 24, so they are scoring plenty in the second half. 10 out of 10 recent games saw at least 1 second half goal being scored for Brighton as well. And I want to just show you as well the odds, or I'll just tell you the odds. 1.53 for Brighton to get a second half goal against Leeds. I think that is a fantastic find. Incidentally, you can see there Leeds have scored just 3 second half goals in their last 10 fixtures. And here is another stat ahead of the Brighton-Leeds game. No team has had more shots on target across the last 10 fixtures than Brighton. 104. They are tied second with Newcastle United, Manchester United, there, Liverpool, Forest, Nottingham Forest, Burnley. Interesting, isn't it? Let's have a look at the bottom of this list because it does get pretty interesting and pretty worrying potentially for Tottenham. Not so much for Arsenal, it just shows how clinical they are. Just 70 shots on target in their last 10 games, 65 for Tottenham Hotspur. And we do now move to Tottenham against Chelsea, the London derby. This is 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. They've both scored 17 goals this season. Tottenham have a better defensive record, but in terms of records at the minute, we have to start by mentioning Chelsea and their disciplinary record. 6 red cards in the last 9 games. Liam Delap comes on in the Carabao Cup and he is sent off after being shown 2 yellow cards. Enzo Maresca called the recent red cards very stupid and embarrassing. Now, are they overcommitting in games? Well, we can take a look at the data for fouls committed across the last 10 and they are 4th, but they are quite a way away from Aston Villa. 142 fouls committed in the last 10 games. Nottingham Forest also up there, Everton there, Chelsea, Leeds, Arsenal. Let's have a look at who isn't committing many fouls. Burnley, Wolves, City, Brentford. So how many cards will we see in Tottenham against Chelsea? Remember, it is a London derby as well. Now, despite the cards, they are doing something right. They are scoring goals, Chelsea. They have scored in each of the last 10 fixtures played. And we jump back to the AI football predictions page because another golden nugget of information here. It's telling us again that Chelsea have scored in the last 10 games, of course. Now, it's also mentioning that Tottenham have scored in 9 of their last 10 games. It's also telling us that Chelsea have had over 2.5 goals in 7 of the last 10 games. It's also telling us that their last 6 games have seen over 2.5 goals landing. And it's also mentioning, because it's got access to the probability model, the latest odds, that 1.8 offers 13.26% value. So this is a value bet. So here are the selections based on the data and the tools and all the stuff we've just talked about. We have under 4 goals at 1.4 in Burnley against Arsenal. We have BTTS in the Nottingham Forest game. I think Forest will score against Manchester United, and given the way Manchester United are playing, especially how they are starting games, I think they're going to get a goal too. Brighton to score in the second half, 1.53. The data speaks for itself there, it really does. You could even match that with Brighton to win the game. I think Brighton will win that game. That would be a nice double potentially. And then over 2.5 goals at 1.8 is a value bet, so I think we will keep that one on. I'm going to trim the fat here. I'm going to take one of these selections off, so we're left with a treble. Let's have a look. So there we go. I have removed the Arsenal game. I do think it's highly likely to see under 4 goals. It's not often that Arsenal run away with games, and especially at Burnley, given the way they defended last season and the way that they will sit back. And Arsenal sometimes struggle to break teams down. That's why they focus so much on set pieces, and if they get a set piece, it's like having a penalty sometimes for them. But Burnley will be set up well from set pieces, no doubt about that. They were very unlucky when Liverpool came to Turf Moor, so it could be a very tight game again, nervy. But I think, as Arsenal always do, they'll get the job done. A narrow victory, 1 or 2 goals. So we have BTTS in the Forest United game, Brighton to get a goal in the second half, and over 2.5 goals in Tottenham against Chelsea. As always, let me know what you think in the comments. If you've enjoyed this, please like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.